Hello, everybody. I thought that in honour of the 123rd anniversary of the birth of Valentin Tomberg, I'd do my first reading in quite a while. And there are many wonderful things I could have read from his works. For me, it has to be meditations on the tarot. And I thought it would be especially appropriate to read from the Star Arcanum, the 17th Arcanum, or the Star of Mediations, as he puts it. This is the star from the Mebes Tarot. So I'll just start to read. This is the page I opened it at. Just as there is fire with a capital F and fire with a small f, that is, the celestial fire of divine love and the fire of electricity due to friction, so there is water and water, that is, the celestial water of the sap of growth, progress and evolution, and the lower water of instinctivity, the collective unconscious, engulfing collectivity, which is the water of floods and drowning. Thus the woman represented on the card of the 17th Arcanum pours water from two vases held in her left and right hands, which blend into the same stream. Alas, here is the tragedy of human life and mankind's history and cosmic evolution. The flow of continuity in heredity, tradition, and evolution bears not only that which is healthy, noble, holy, and divine of the past, but also that which was infectious, vile, blasphemous, and diabolical. All is born pell-mell, never-ending, towards the future. When Verlaine said of the River Seine in his poems, could be said with good reason, of the flow of human life, mankind's history, and cosmic evolution. Still, Seine, your crawling journey do you make, curving through Paris like some aged snake, a muddy snake, and all your ports are fed with loads of wood, of coal, and of the dead. The same again could be said, also with good reason, in the words of Victor Hugo. As the river of the communal soul, from the white pylon to the rough rune, from the Brahmin to the Roman flamen, from the Hierophant to the Druid, a kind of godly fluid runs through the veins of the human race. For both the mud of the serpent of old and a kind of godly fluid indeed flow in the veins of the human race. Is this dualism then? Do the serpent's venom and the tears of the Virgin therefore flow together eternally in the flow of life? Yes and no. The one as resolutely as the other. Yes for the present, which is action and will. No for the future, which is the star of the sea of understanding and hope. Because for action it is dualism which awakens the will and makes it pass from a passive state to an active state. All effort presupposes a practical and concrete dualism. The great masters of dualism in the history of humanity, such as Zarathustra, Buddha and Mani, did not want to explain the world through the dogma of cosmic duality, in the case of Zarathustra, or psychological duality, Buddha, or even psycho-cosmic duality, Mani, but rather they wanted to awaken dormant will for the effort which manifests itself by the power to say yes and no. Fatalism, resignation to routine, and quietism are the sleep of the will, sometimes harmless, at other times tinged with bitterness. The great masters of dualism made appeal to the will to awaken it and rid it of the weight of somnolence. They wanted to give courage and boldness to the point of exercising in practice the will's birthright, that of choice, that of saying yes or no. The great Zarathustra wanted knights to fight under the banner of light in the struggle against darkness, the Turanian idolaters, the demons of impurity and ignorance, and last of the spirit of Ahriman was Satan. He wanted that there should be people able to say yes to the light, and who, consequently, learnt to say no to the darkness. The great Buddha wanted to awaken the will to say no to the routine of desires which make the wheel of births revolve. He wanted ascetics with regard to the automatic mechanism of the psyche, who would learn to say yes with regard to the free creativity of the spirit. The great Mani, who taught a synthesis of the teaching of Zarathustra and Buddha within Christianity, wanted, leaving aside the question of whether the blend that he accomplished was good or not, to mobilize the goodwill of the whole of mankind, pagan, Buddhist and Christian, for a single concerned and universal effort of yes towards the eternal spirit and no towards the transitory things of matter. The aim which the great masters of dualism pursued was practical, 'tis relating to the domain of yes and no, and we, insofar as we pursue a practical earthly psychic or spiritual aim, cannot accept the flow of human life, mankind's history and cosmic evolution simply as it is, and let ourselves be carried along by it. We are bound to distinguish here between the mud of the serpent of old and a kind of godly fluid, and to say yes and no with all the practical consequences that this yes and no entail. At the same time, we must not forget that the 17th Arcanum is not only that of the water which flows from two vases and is mixed in a single flow, but also that of the star, all the more so as the traditional name of the card is the star. The great central star of the card. As, moreover, the whole constellation of 8 stars invites us to an effort of consciousness to unite contemplative justice, the yellow star with 8 rays, with active justice, the red star with 8 rays. That is, to unite the guiding principle of understanding with the guiding principle of the will. In other words, it invites us to overcome dualism through the magical and alchemical operation of nailing opposites to one another, that which one calls the marriage of opposites. The marriage of opposites makes the light force radiate into the world, which renders the future not only acceptable but also desirable, which transforms the future into promise, and which is the antithesis of the thesis of the author of Ecclesiastes, the son of David, king of Jerusalem, who said, "What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun." The light force which emanates from the star, constituted through the marriage of contemplation with activity, and which is the antithesis of the thesis that there is nothing new under the sun, is hope. It proclaims to the world, what has been is that which prepares what will be, and what has been done is that which prepares what will be done. There is only that which is new under the sun. Each day is a unique event and revelation, which will never be repeated. Hope is not something subjective due to an optimistic or sanguine temperament, or to a desire for compensation in the sense of modern Freudian and Adlerian psychology. It is a light force which radiates objectively and which directs creative evolution towards the world's future. It is the celestial and spiritual counterpart of the terrestrial and natural instinct of biological reproduction, which with mutation produces natural selection, which latter in its turn produces with time biological progress. In other words, hope is what moves and directs spiritual evolution in the world. Insofar as it moves, it is an objective force, and insofar as it orientates and directs, it is a subjective light. This is why we may speak of it as a light force. Hope is for spiritual evolution what the instinct of reproduction is for biological evolution. It is the force and the light of the final cause of the world, or, if you wish, the force and the light of the ideal of the world, the magical radiation of the omega point, which according to Teilhard de Chardin, this omega point towards which spiritual evolution is tending, or that of the noosphere, which surges triumphantly above the barosphere and biosphere, is the central point of the hope of the personalizing world. It is the point of complete unity of the outer and inner, of matter and spirit, that is, the God-man, the resurrected Jesus Christ. Just as the alpha point, the prime mover or the effective cause, is the word which set in motion electrons, atoms, molecules, that is, movement, directed towards their association into planets, organisms, families, races, kingdom. Thank you. I am the Alpha and the Omega. This is how the message of the central star of the card of the 17th Arcanum of the Tarot reads, which means to say, I am activity, the effective cause, who set all in motion. And I am contemplation, the final cause, who draws towards himself all that which is in movement. I am primordial action, and I am eternal waiting for all to arrive where I am. Okay. I think we'll maybe leave it at that. Unless there's, she says, turning to the Wheel of Fortune. Where it says the totality of things, intuition transcending cerebral intellectuality, emeticism. Is this not the aspiration of every metaphysical philosophy and or religious mystical practice? In order to maintain heaven. Okay. Happy birthday.